So I mentioned in one of my last videos something about this being a way of regulating emotions or something like that. I mentioned how I read or seen something about people who talk to themselves, carry on conversations. They do that as a way of regulating, processing emotions. So another thing I'd mentioned was the transparency and making this video. I put stuff on here talking about spiritual warfare and exposing my own problems with overthinking and psychology and I do a lot of it. Like, okay, for my daughter, maybe it'll be valuable to her someday, or any of my kids. Relationships is a big part of it. I want to talk about I've been in a few relationships in my life. Only one really long-term one, and most of them was, I was a toxic individual, and I was, wasn't very good at relationships, that's for sure. But here later in life, I'm like, so I learned a lot of things, and now the things that I would even look for and find valuable in a relationship, honestly, I'm like, I tolerated a lot in relationships, and I definitely dished out a lot. Thinking that's right, thinking that's two people working through things. Ugh, man, that was rough. But so any kind of I can help through psychology. I could help people in a relationship, but not everybody would be willing to receive certain help. So the point I want to get to is this: I've saw, and I'm so very proud. I have two boys, two of my sons, that are in great relationships. And I used to look at my oldest son, and I'd be like, he would be hard to be in a relationship with. I'd be like, he's difficult. Like, as his father, I'm like, nah, me and him couldn't live together. No way. And so I had to process this stuff, watching him, and I'm like, nah, bro, I wouldn't want to be his wife or nothing. I couldn't put up with that. But he is in a very, that him and his soon-to-be wife, or they get along great. They seem to be having a very good relationship. My other son, who is married with 2 kids, great relationship, very happy together. And I know another couple that live under the same biblical standards. These are the relationships that I have witnessed in my life, and I see the standards that they do that by. It's really simple. Under the umbrella of God, I see, I'm like, they operate under a biblical marriage. Wives submit to their husbands. Husbands lead the family to church to lead their children, bring them up in the knowledge of Christ. It's our responsibility as men to lead our family, to live, die, and, put God first, and then our family. That's our that's and you know, I haven't had the. I'm not speaking from my experience, as in I've been that man, but for me to see a relationship, I'm like, wow. Do I have that desire? Yes, I do have that desire. If I was to have that, finding that kind of woman, but here's the challenge behind it: finding that woman. Probably have to be provided by God. It probably wouldn't be about finding it. Probably have to be provided by God. But so I see those marriages. I'm like, wow. There's people on the outside looking in, like, they see the wives submit yourselves to your husband, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, ugh. I see this, and I'm like, why is that so easy for somebody to get? Why? I mean, how is that so hard for some people to understand? When it's such a very simple formula, if you can get past this one thing, and I'm speaking for the women, because when I say women are off, when they read this submissive thing and they're like, no, I want to be a boss, independent, blah, 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 whatever it is, that's what turns them away. Men they're not, I'm not trying to, I want to be clear, like, I've been off, like, I ain't trying to do all that leading, and I've absolutely been on the other spectrum of, so I'm not, I just see the formula is what I'm getting at, and I'm like, wow, if people could just see that formula and get on board with that, wow, dude, there's nothing to run from. It's a pretty great formula, and it's in your nature. Like, so for me as a man, I'm like, and this is, this isn't a pride thing. I don't want a woman paying for anything for me. Now, when I was younger, I thought that was cool, being a player. That might be, you know what I'm saying? I thought that might be, yeah, maybe then. As in a man, I'm like, I grew up, and I'm like, no, I want to pay for everything for my family. I think it's freaking, a shame to not be able. And I'm not the best fixer-upper person. I would like to be able to do everything around the house that could be done. I'm not that guy, because, I lived most of my life doing wrong, the opposite. But for the man to play that part, play his part, and fulfill all of his roles to the best of his ability, it should not be. What is women's deal with running from that? Like, oh, you talking about the guy that has to freaking defend the house, defend you, die for you, put his life on the line, fight for your smart mouth, or whatever it might be. Yeah, that's that guy. Oh, whether you're right or wrong, he has to defend you. Don't have the right to confront you about anything. I might be getting off a little bit, but where I'm going with that is, biblically here, for a marriage, there's plenty of people, they want to go and get married. I suggest you know God first, because that is the purpose of marriage. Marriage isn't just a paper for the world, because here, if you're not doing it under the umbrella of God, then your marriage is kind of a trap. When I say a trap, I'm talking about it's a setup. It's not very beneficial. All of a sudden, now you guys get less. The government, you'll get less help. Things are a little backwards. point of marriage is to make your union under the umbrella of God, blessed by God. The vows are important. They actually mean something. That's not just a symbolic thing that you're saying. It's supposed to mean something. But my encouragement is that that marriages should mean something, not just between you and it's not between you and the person. It's between you and the person under God. God is the head, the man, woman, children. It's a model for successful marriage and life. I just wanted to, bring that up. God has provided a perfect thing. Encourage people to get their life right with God early in life, because I spent a lot of my life in toxic relationships, toxic awesome stuff, thinking that chaos was somewhat normal. Like, hey, we're fighting for something. We're fighting to be together. We love each other. Nah. For me, I think I thought, because I always wanted to, I would never, I've never went into a relationship like, oh, okay, so this shouldn't be happening. I did, but I think I knew that certain things shouldn't be happening, and I would fight about it instead of just walk away from something like, hey, this is what it's, if I just known this biblical thing, no, this is how things are, this is how it should be. There's red flags that I ignored all my life. And in me saying this, I was a problem myself. I've been a drug addict, but even outside of that, the format is so clear for a good relationship. And I get to see it in my son. I get to see it in other couples. I've got to see it. So for all the feminists and the naysayers about, that traditional marriage, that traditional, man, that biblical thing, that's awful funny, because I have the happiest marriages I've ever seen. Not just happy, successful, are under them biblical standards. Amen. That's it.